The program, 90 Days to a Great Partnership, is meant to give you a fresh way to look at your equine partner. It's intended for a wide range of riders and levels, and it applies across disciplines. So both English and Western riders of all types can enjoy it. If you're a nervous rider, we'll look at ways to face your fears. If you want to develop your feel, we'll look at ways to improve it. If you want to get more engagement, more connection with your horse, we will speak about that. If you want to improve your position, we demonstrate exercises to help. This video is our introduction. Lesson 1, which is actually week 1, is yours complimentary if you simply enter your email on the form beside this video. Type in week 1 for the message and I will send it to you within 24 to 48 hours. Your email will never be shared or sold. You have my word. What we want to do here is spend a moment looking into the nature of a horse. When we understand a horse's nature, we understand why they react in certain ways to what they experience. Knowing a little bit about how a horse is meant to behave, how they're hardwired to behave, is important to develop real connection and a great relationship as both a partner and a companion. Before we get into that, here's a sneak peek at the first few weeks in the program. Week 1 is where we look at the idea of response to pressure. We want good response to pressure to have good communication with our horse. We'll look at the movement of a horse in walk, trot, and canter to understand how their legs move and the rhythm of each gait. We will also review the ideal position for effective riding and speak on the natural and artificial aids. Week 2. Week 2 looks at energy systems, the individual personality of the horse, fear as a type of energy, and will introduce the training scale and what that looks like. Week 3, we start to concentrate on the responsibilities of the rider, ideas of connection, improving our strength to improve our position, relaxation, rhythm, and more. As the weeks progress, we go further in depth. It's a great program to supplement a regular riding program for beginners to advanced riders. And it's a great program to those riders out there that do not have access to regular instruction. Thanks for watching and taking the first step to commit to a better relationship for you and your horse. Let's get into the good stuff, shall we? There are 2 general groups of animals, if you choose to categorize them this way. One group can be called predators. The other can be called prey animals. What are the characteristics of each type? Let's look at the predators first. The definition of a predator is an animal that kills or would kill in the wild in order to survive. Examples of predators could be lions, tigers, coyotes, cougars, owls, and bears. Many predators eat only animal flesh, making them carnivores. Some predators, like bears, also feed on plant life, so they're considered omnivores. Humans are omnivores, and yes, we are considered a predatory species. Predators kill with and protect themselves with their keen senses, their prowess, their teeth, and their claws. If they were to choose fight or flight, they are way more likely to choose fight than prey animals. So the second group of animals, the prey animals, are defined as organisms that are attacked and eaten by other organisms. Prey animals are animals such as deer, rabbits, squirrels, and horses. What do horses want to do when they feel threatened? With a choice between fight or flight, a horse is likely to choose flight. It is their instinct to do so. A rider forced to deal with a situation of panic like this should get their horse back into control as soon as possible for the welfare of both of them. but a rider should never yell at their horse or punish a horse if they are faced with a moment that they simply follow their instinct. It just isn't fair to the horse. A calming tone and reassurance are what the horse needs. If we put the horse in a situation where he or she feels threatened, but we take away their option to run, they might just start to fight. How does a horse fight? Well, if a cougar were to jump on its back, what would nature have them do? Give up and get killed? That's not saying a lot for the survival of the species. They fight much like they play. They would buck or strike with their front legs or kick out. They might bite. Let's put the idea of humans being predators and horses being prey together for a moment. I followed the philosophies and studied the training of a Texas cowboy for a while, named Craig Cameron. He would say, "Never take it for granted when a prey animal lets a predator up on its back." Isn't there an amazing message there? Most of us have never thought of riding in that way. So a horse is either hardwired to run when he feels threatened or protect himself in some manner. Which option he takes and how often can depend a lot on the individual personality of the horse and the circumstances he has been raised in. There are many personality types of horses, just as there are many personalities of people. There are horses that are sensitive and worried, bold and confident, lazy, energetic, friendly, curious, and so on. Some personality types of people are better matched with certain personality types of horses. The partnership between you and your horse can be likened to any significant relationship in your life. When the two of you are connected and you are both in good spirits, you'll be magical together. When one of you is feeling out of sorts or miserable, things are not likely to go as well. The terms nature versus nurture affect the personality of the horse. If you have a horse that grew up in an environment where she was left to be a horse, virtually untouched by humans, and started later in her life, maybe at 4 or 5 years old, that horse is likely to have her instincts close at hand and be very sensitive to her handler's body language. That horse will naturally be very respectful of the human-horse leadership hierarchy, and she will likely do very well with lots of praise and encouragement from the person who gains her trust. This is due to the nurture she received growing up. The nature of a horse is its genetics and inherent temperament. If, on the other hand, you have a horse that grows up with exposure to a lot of things and with excessive handling, he will be a horse with another sort of personality based on the nurture he has received. He is likely to be quieter and less reactive to things in his environment. Because of all the handling, this horse will be very used to people. He may even be dull and unreactive to his rider. He may challenge the human-horse hierarchy, and he is more likely to have the fight mode present. Let's touch for a moment on this idea of human-horse hierarchy. Horses are very social animals. They want to be with other horses, or at the very least, they want to be near to other horses. They sort out a pecking order amongst themselves. One horse will be the boss. One will be second in command. One will likely be picked on or the lowest in the ranking, and so on. This is how their world makes sense to them. In a horse's understanding of life, they don't leave us out of their social rankings. They want to either lead you or be led by you. Any successful, respectful, rewarding partnership that you will have with your horse requires you to be in that leadership role. This does not mean that you have to yell at your horse constantly to remain the leader. In fact, in many cases, it is arguable that people yelling at their horse are yelling more out of their own personal fear and unsophisticated handling, their inability to read the horse's body language. A great horse person reads the subtle cues a horse gives and is proactive about setting and maintaining consistent boundaries for them. Horses are so sensitive to the energy we give off. It's important to act confidently around them. Most horses accept your leadership role without question if you handle them with confidence and certainty. This doesn't mean that you have to be the most experienced person, but the more you are aware of the need to act confidently, the easier it gets to perform simple tasks like bringing him in from his paddock without being tugged around, or having him pull down to eat grass. Certain personality types of horses will challenge boundaries of accepted behavior more than others. Whether you are correcting something your horse does every 10 seconds, every 10 minutes, or correcting it every 10 months, it is important to establish the boundaries and keep them consistent for your horse every time you handle him. A very sweet, quiet, experienced horse may only pull down to eat grass on the trails once a year, but that should be corrected if you deem the behavior unacceptable. This applies too for situations such as when you take your horse from his paddock, and instead of having him politely circle and wait for you to close the gate, you let him pull rudely and abruptly down to eat grass, but you allow it so you can shut the gate. If you initiate it, it's okay. Allowing your horse to do something is acceptable, but having the horse decide he's going to do it, allowing your horse to lead you, the human-horse hierarchy is challenged. You are on your way to having a pushy animal that will be less and less pleasant to handle. Usually, if a horse keeps trying something, it's because at least some of the time he's getting away with it. They need consistency to improve. With this idea of personality types in horses, there's a fun book available called Is Your Horse a Rock Star? This book categorizes personality types of horses. The author, Dessa Hockley, divides horses into 16 personality types. 8 of the personality types are dominant personalities, and 8 of them are submissive personalities. She then further divides the categories by asking the questions: is your horse energetic or lazy? Is your horse curious or afraid? Is your horse friendly or aloof? The book has helpful and detailed hints, do's and don'ts for each personality classification, and humorous accounts of how each type handles life. It's definitely a great book to further your understanding of how your horse relates to humans, how he relates to other horses, what motivates him, and how he feels valued. The personality quiz is available at www.horsepersonality.com/quiz, or you can find it in her book. The link to purchase the book on Amazon is below this video. So with all of these ideas in mind, please go ahead and download the exercises for this introduction. If you don't own your own horse yet, think of a horse you ride or interact with regularly. You can find the workbook exercises by clicking the link that says Workbook Exercises below the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to 90 Days to a Great Partnership. To get the first week's lesson for free, enter your name and email on the page right next to the video and type in week 1 for your message. Happy riding!